So let me ask you, what are the issues around measurement and ROI? Those are big questions as money goes to online video. Where do things stand and where do they need to go?
Absolutely. Let me start off by giving you a context on digital medium. Digital, as you know, is the most measurable of all mediums. Now that is good. On the other hand, it's got an issue of an excess of measurement, an excess of riches. And video is no different in that sense. Video, I believe, has a preponderance of data and measurement and metrics. The fundamental issue for a marketer is deciding upon the right metrics. So let's look at a video example. Video's performance is affected by whether it's a pre-roll, in-banner, the length of the video, the targeting associated with the video, the placement of the video. There are many, many factors that affect how many people watch it, how many people pass it along. A metric system, a comprehensive measurement system has to be able to explain all these factors. Now in our book we look at metrics in 3 dimensions. The first dimension is you need some short-term metrics, what we call exposure metrics, that give you a quick sense, is this video working or not. The second category is something we call marketing and brand metrics. These are a little bit more longer term, but we believe a good video should impact brand preference, brand attributes, and we believe a total measurement system should have brand and product measurement metrics associated with it. The third category we believe is financial. Now at the end of the day, we are all in this to make some money and sell some product. Can we build the association of a video, a successful video, a video that has magnetic content with actually driving sales? Now I believe so, I believe yes, and we have some data and statistics that back this up that say people who've watched video have a much higher likelihood, the right kind of video have a much higher likelihood to go and buy the products. And I believe the number is anywhere from 5 to 10% more likelihood to buy a given product. So in the book we argue that a measurement system that is complete for video needs to have all 3 dimensions of short-term exposure, brand metrics, and then financial metrics. And it should also be able to account for the different dimensions of the effectiveness of video, which is, as I said, pre-roll, in-banner, length of the video, placement, targeting.
Where do things stand in terms of, that implementation in the industry, and are we there yet, or what needs to take place?
Yes. Where the industry is today is a focus around the short-term aspects. So you see a lot of companies measuring completion rate of videos, time spent with the videos. They'll measure pass-alongs with videos, but they do not have a comprehensive system of looking at the impacts on the brand side, as well as financial, as well as getting to the magical ROI word. Now, I argue, and I've shown this over the years, that getting to ROI is not as complex as people believe it to be. Because in a sense, it's based on a principle of incrementality, which is people who have watched your video, are they more likely to buy your product versus those that do not, and then showing through some panels or through some linkage to the database whether they have indeed bought those products. So it's a 2-step process. One is to establish incrementality by asking them a question on their likelihood to buy, and the second step is to link it to the database to look at purchase. What I find in the industry today is people are afraid to take the step to go to the financial measurement. So they stop at the tactical measures. They do not go down to asking the incrementality question, nor do they link to financial outcomes.
Do you think that that there is transparency in the media buying process now? Is that something you can talk about?
A company has a lot of choices today around how they buy time for placement of video. They can either go directly to publishers, they can go through ad networks, or they can go through exchanges. Okay? And with each one of these, there are pros and cons. And the trade-off is a promised cost efficiency with going to a network or an exchange versus getting very transparent access to where the video is being placed. And I believe increasingly brands are afraid of where their video might be placed, in places which affects the brand in a negative fashion. And the trade-off between cost effectiveness and being transparent is what you're wrestling with. Because a lot of places that give you cost efficiency, the promises of cost efficiency in placing a video, also do not give you complete transparent access to where it's being placed. And I think each one decides on that spectrum where their comfort level lies. For a more traditional financial services brand, you're likely to demand that transparent access and compromise on a little bit of the cost side to get that access. But the industry isn't there. You find the places where you get the lowest cost for your placement of the videos are likely the ones that are giving you the least transparent access to where it's being placed.
So there's been a lot of talk about the movement of broadcast dollars to online video. You know, this might be the year, or it may not be the year, or next year, or last year. Where do things stand? I mean, or is it a new medium, or will it cannibalize television, or is it a new area, or what's happening?
You know, it's a great question. I think this is the day of integrated marketing. The question often gets asked is how are monies being moved from one channel to the other channel, and the answer I usually give is you need to understand your consumers and determine which channels are they consuming and how it affects their propensity to buy or their brand preference. There's always a role for TV. There is a greater demand for video just because you look at the time spent on videos and the amount of dollars that are spent in it. There's a disproportional imbalance there. There's far greater time being spent on videos as opposed to the money that's being spent to it as compared to broadcast TV, for example. So I believe clearly that imbalance is being corrected. There's money being shifted. Digital is growing at 20% plus these days. Now, I'm not sure I remember what the growth of videos is, but I suspect it's not in the same ratio that it needs to be to correct the imbalance. But most importantly, as that imbalance gets corrected, the fundamental issue that needs to be solved for is making sure that you're spending money in accordance with the viewer habits of your target audience. And that's the place you start from. Where are they consuming the medium? How much time are they spending in it? And then making sure your buying strategy is linked to that.